Hello everybody, welcome to the Ayala Law YouTube channel. Today I want to tell you 5 steps you need to take when you're trying to open a business in the United States. First of all, you need to choose the right business entity. The word business, the word company means a lot of things. It could mean a limited liability company, it could mean a corporation, it could mean a sole proprietorship, it could mean a partnership. So you need to understand what is that you need. Usually if you're opening a little, let's say, services firm, a consultant firm, you can probably go with a sole proprietorship. That allows you to operate under a legal entity, but has very little protection because almost the entity and you are the same, just one owner. We generally don't recommend that. Generally we recommend an LLC, a limited liability company, which has protections from liability. And as long as you have two partners or two owners of the limited liability company, let's say even if you are 99% owner and then you have a 1% other owner, whether it's a human or another entity, you will have protections from liability under the law. The law protects legal LLCs, and it's literally a legal way to protect your assets and people that could sue you potentially. Then you have corporations. Corporations is like the most common form of entity, but I usually recommend that for my clients when they're, let's say, trying to raise capital, or this is a company that's looking long term to bring investors in, or maybe go to the stock market. If you want to go public, you have to be a corporation, so you can issue shares and all of that. So that's generally more sophisticated. It's usually more expensive. The big thing in corporations is that it has double taxation, meaning the corporation first gets taxed and then the owners get a document that says this is what you earn, and they also get to pay taxes. But corporation is usually not recommended for little enterprises. My cutoff is maybe 20-30 million in revenues or below. An LLC is fine. Above that, probably maybe you want to do a corporation. And then you have a partnership. Like this is a partnership, for example, a legal entity. It's a professional association. It's similar to an LLC, similar protection, but it's more for professional services. So you can also choose that. So this is a conversation that you can have with a business lawyer like me, or you can have also with a CPA. A CPA can also give you good guidance on this. The second thing you need to do, register the entity. Right? You go to sambiz.org in Florida, and every state will have a similar website. Go to sambiz.org, new filing, and then you'll pick up a name that is not already chosen by somebody else. You'll do a name conflict check, and then you'll register your entity with the Department of State of the state where you're going to do business primarily, right? And every state, you can go to Delaware, Wyoming, California, all states that I know, you can do these filings online. The most important thing that you're gonna run here is that you're gonna need a registered agent. A registered agent, usually called the RA, it's an entity or a person that is legally designated by you to accept legal documents, to accept what we call service of process. So every Department of State or every state will have laws that force you to designate someone that has a physical address in the state, because the law or the states don't want you to be cheating on people and then having entities that don't have physical location and address, or that we can't serve them legal documents when we want to sue them or when we want to say that they committed a violation, right? So a registered agent is something that you are going to need, and that could be you yourself. I don't recommend putting you yourself. You usually should hire someone. Here at Ayala Law, we provide registered agent services for our clients. That's going to be part of the requirements for you to register that in the Department of State records. The third step is, that's with the state. Now you got to deal with the IRS. So you got to obtain what is called an EIN, or an employee identification number. This is a different website. You're going to go to irs.gov and you're going to put their new filing and you're going to request a number. An EIN, it's in essence like the equivalent of a social security in a human being to the corporation. Remember that a corporation, an LLC or a company, these are what we call legal personas. They literally are like another human, like a fake or artificial human being. So they have their own number for purpose of taxation. Taxation at all levels. You'll pay your employment taxes with the state with that number. You'll pay your IRS capital gain taxes with that number. So it's the number that will give identity. Just like a human doesn't have an identity without social security in this country, in the exact same way, an entity, even after you created it in the Department of State records of Florida or whatever state you are incorporated the entity, your entity will not have a legal identity if it doesn't have an EIN number. The fourth step you need to do is you need to get the required licenses depending on your activity. Are you maybe importing or exporting food? Then you're gonna have to go to the FDA and meet some requirements there. Are you in the import of export food business? You're gonna have to deal with the USDA and get some licenses or permits there? Are you dealing with drugs or pharmacy? You're gonna have to deal with the FDA. Are you dealing with transportation? You may have to get some license from the Department of Transportation. Are you in the financial services industry? You may have to go to the SEC or to FINRA to get some license or some compliance issue there. So you're gonna have to go and get the licenses and permits that your specific industry requires. You're also gonna have to deal with your city, because every city will have a certificate of occupancy permit that you need to get. You have what is called a business tax receipt, which is a fee to the county. You're gonna get taxed or paid some sort of fee by all levels: city, county, state, federal. So you gotta make sure you have all these permits, licenses, so you can operate legally. And the final component, the final step you need to do when you incorporate or you create a company is you need to draft your key legal documents. What are your key legal documents? The first one and most important one is your operating agreement. If you're an LLC, an operating agreement, or the shareholder agreement, which is the equivalent in a corporation. They're basically the same things, but these are documents that state who owns what are the rules that govern this corporation, what are the rules that govern this entity. So your operating agreement is the most important document because it is sort of like the company's constitution. It's requested by a lot of entities. Banks ask for operating agreements. If you're doing a closing on a real estate transaction and the real estate is owned by your entity, you're going to be asked for these documents. And if you fight with your partner, you need to have that paper that says how is that we're going to regulate this dispute, in what forum, who is entitled to what, who gets legal fees, etc. Many things are governed by the operating agreement, including what happens if you die. Other key documents are registering your trademarks with the federal government or with the state, so you are protected. You have to also maybe have some bylaws that governs the conduct of your company on the day-to-day basis, and contracts with your vendors. That's also very important, that you have at least some invoice, maybe in the back you put your terms and conditions that govern your relationship with your vendors in case your vendors or your clients sue you, or you need to get paid and you need to sue them, you need to arbitrate with them, you need to engage in some sort of dispute. Contract with your employees. If you have a lot of employees, maybe your employees should be signing a non-disclosure agreement of the information they have access within your company or your computers. You need to draft your key legal documents that will really protect you and give the structure to properly set up entity or corporation. Those are the 5 legal steps you should follow. Thank you for watching. Follow us for more business legal content. See you in the next video.